Hello, welcome to Video Mania 2. I'm the dude manning the counter, Duncan, and today we're going to talk about the original Point Break from 1991. It was directed by Catherine Bigelow, stars Keanu Reeves, Patrick Swayze, Gary Busey, and Lori Petty. This movie is very iconic, and it was really awesome. And what I think it really makes it special is how it kind of 1991, was kind of a transition period from the 80s into the 90s. And Point Break was really perfect with that because it had the 80s, a little bit of the cheesiness and kind of the excess and some of the over-the-top aspects. But it also had some, it was changing tastes and direction, and Point Break really captures that because, it has a little bit of 80s feel to it, but during that transition time, it was going into the 90s style of action, too. The plot is pretty simple. Keanu Reeves plays Johnny Utah. He was a quarterback at Ohio State and had a lot of success, but he got hurt, so he could never go pro. So he joined the FBI. And he's paired up with Angelo Pappas, who's an experienced agent, played by Gary Busey. And so they're paired up together, and they're in Los Angeles, and there's a series of bank robberies that nobody can solve, and they're done by a group of people called the ex-presidents, and they dress in, they have on masks of former presidents like Reagan, Jimmy Carter, Lyndon Johnson, and Richard Nixon. So there were four of them. And, they get in and they get out, and they're very efficient, but they don't get too greedy. They don't go crazy. They don't try to empty the vault. They just hit the cash drawers and go. And no one can touch them. And so Angelo Pappas has this theory that they're surfers because they found a little bit of forensic evidence that's there, and they found some sand, so he thinks they're surfers. So, but nobody believes him. But Johnny Utah is anxious to, prove himself in the FBI. So let's solve this. I'm younger, I can go undercover into the surfing culture, and if these guys are there, I'll be able to find them. So they go in there, and, he learns to surf. He's hesitant about this. He really doesn't want to. He's just on a mission to try to find them, but he's doing what he has to do. And then, he meets this girl, and played by Lori Petty. Her name's Tyler. And he goes surfing on his own and nearly drowns, and she saves him. And she's like, "You have no idea what you're doing." So she's his in to get into the group of surfers. Like, she knows everybody in that scene. So he gets involved with her. He uses some stories to get on her good side, and she teaches him to surf. And then he sees this charismatic leader of a surfing group. His name's Bodie, played by Patrick Swayze. He's an adrenaline junkie. Whatever the next rush is, he's into it. And Johnny Utah's mesmerized by him to an extent. This guy is so different, he doesn't know what to make of him, but he's very intrigued. And he also starts getting involved with Tyler, so he's mixing business with pleasure, which he shouldn't be doing, and that comes up too. So, but Bodie sees something in Utah too. Like, Johnny Utah, he has this carefree attitude at times, like this kamikaze, let's go do it, that adrenaline edge, that the surfers like, and the skydivers and all these, daredevils. And Johnny Utah has that thing, and Bodie senses it, so he's captured by him too. He's like, I want to see how far I can push you to go. So he gets mixed up in the scene, and he starts having loyalty to Bodie and Tyler, and then the FBI, because he does look up to Angelo Pappas, who's kind of mentoring him, so he's very conflicted. And he thinks he finds the ex-presidents, a group of surfers that are kind of rough, and they're bad people, but they're not the ex-presidents, because in the end, he really knows deep down it's Bodie, it always has been. And, that's where their conflict is, because he's a little bit too close to him. And Angelo Pappas even senses it, like, I don't think you're scared, which Utah's not scared of anything, but I think you're a little too close to Bodie here. And Bodie doesn't know what to kind of do with him either. Like, so the ex-presidents, that's when the conflict starts. They kind of talk around what they both are, and then the conflict really happens. But what makes this good is the soundtrack's good. It kind of has that early 90s music, and the themes are really like loyalty and, what surfing is really about, and exploring yourself too. Like, he learned, like, he thought surfing wasn't for him, but he fell in love with it and fell in love with different kinds of daredevil stuff. And Utah's torn between, his job too. He's a professional. He needs to be on the FBI team. So he's very torn. And this theme is about that, like, what decision are you going to make? What's really right and what's really wrong? So that's what made this kind of a deeper action movie for its time. Now, that's what really makes it great. Now, it was remade in 2015. I saw it once, and it just didn't capture it. It's just not good, and it never should have been done. I was more curious than anything, but it absolutely shouldn't have been, but done. Excuse me. But it more or less was remade as the Fast and the Furious. The original Fast and Furious, if you look at the themes, I mean, they're very close. It's like Point Break, but with, modified cars. So that's kind of a similar thing here. But, of course, this came out 10 years before Fast and Furious. So, it's an absolutely great movie. All the acting's great, and it's just the dialogue is unforgettable. So, it's one of those all-time greats. So, I know I've said that a bunch, but it's one of my favorites. It's available to see everywhere. It's in a lot of pop culture references. A lot of people love this movie. It's just they just don't make them like this. It was just a true classic. So let me know in the comments what you think of it. Have you not seen it? How do you think it holds up? Let me know all that. And take care till next time.